Alright guys, we're back online here. Let's see if I can get what we got working. Alright, that should be it. Alright, I left off the other day after we had traced the outline on the paper. And I've skipped a few steps again here just to try to keep the video short. So here's what we got. I've got the paper. I've got my paper cut already. My paper template. And I've already, like I said, I've already removed it and done some cutting. I've skipped a couple steps, but I'll have everything, I'll have good pictures in the web address, and I'll get that in the description when I get done here, below the video. After you had your paper template taped into place, taped to the glass to keep it in place, you traced your outline around the perimeter of the edge. And then what you want to do is carefully remove. It's like I said, this one's already cut, but you want to carefully remove it from under the edges of the frame, between the frame and the glass itself. Get it out of the way, and you want to handle it carefully just to try to keep your shape as best as you can. Now let's get the Glasstop out of the way here, and let's get. Like I said, I've already got my template cut. We'll call this one a taped together. One of the two layers. After you get these, and again these are taped together for the purposes of the demonstration here. Get your paper template, cut the outline around your traced line, and then carefully tape it. You want to just kind of let it fall into place, and if you had enough tape around there, it should hold its place pretty well. You'll have a little room for error. Tape it onto the styrofoam board. Trace your line around the outside, and then carefully remove it, and then get your second styrofoam board and get it traced on that one. And then you're ready to start cutting. And cutting the styrofoam might seem like an easy task, but it is not. It's kind of tedious. So what you want to do, you don't want to cut where your traced outline is. You want to cut about a quarter of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch to a quarter of an inch outside your traced line. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, when you're cutting, the styrofoam core inside this paper board, you can see it's 2 sheets of paper with styrofoam inside. What you want to do is cut about a quarter of an inch outside, and first you want to take maybe a dull knife and just kind of score about a quarter of an inch outside, and it's going to take a couple of passes. Even with a sharp single-edge razor, the styrofoam, it tends to bunch up in front of your cutting edge, and that's why you need that quarter-inch extra outside of your traced line. Make a couple of passes and cut it carefully. It does take time, and you're leaving yourself a little room for error. Anytime it bunches up, it's going to bunch and it's going to get closer to your cut edge. And after you get done, you're going to be inside, almost inside your cut edge. You're going to need a little extra room for the felt to wrap around the double edge. So after you've made about 2 or 3 passes, your line, your cutting marks should be on the back, and then you're ready to start snapping it as you go around. And on your final pass, when you're cutting the paper on the back side of each layer, you probably want to take your knife, a small knife, and punch through. And don't worry about leaving a rough edge, because you're going to sand it once you get each piece cut, and once you get them taped together, the 2 layers taped together. So after you've got each sheet cut, what you want to do then, let's get this one out of the way. What you want to do then is get your Glasstop back out, put it on your working surface there, and then take your rough cut each sheet of the cardboard or the styrofoam core, put it in place. Do not press it into into the frame edge of your glass top. For two reasons. One, you're going to have to take it back out, and when you take it back out, there's a chance of getting it mangled a little bit. What you want to do, just by laying it in place, is find the rough spots. Once you get the rough spots, the high spots ID'd, then you want to sand around the edge of your each layer with 40 grit sandpaper. I said earlier to use 120 grit, but don't use 120 because it'll just take a little while longer to get it done. Once you get your high spots on both sheets, on both core sheets taken down, then you want to glue together, or well, don't even glue them yet, just first tape around the edges and do your sanding outside, because sanding that styrofoam is kind of messy and dusty. Once you get the high spots on both of your sheets done, then you want to, and like I said, I've already skipped a couple steps here, and I found some errors in my sequence that it might help you when you get it done, or while you're doing it. Once you get the high spots on your two sheets, then you're ready to tape them together and do a final sanding. And what I used putting these two together was the same felt glue that I've used to hold the felt to the styrofoam, actually the paper, because the paper is porous. And taping the two layers together worked pretty well, but some chemicals, when they're curing, they generate heat, and the heat will make the styrofoam curl one way or the other. And you can see, let me hold that up for you, you can see where it started to pull apart, especially around the edges. And on the top side, what I did, let me turn this around for you to see what I did after I had the two together and sanded and glued together. That was when I saw where it kind of pulled apart, so I put a couple extra pieces of tape around the doubled edges just to hold them together and I haven't gone all the way around, but just to keep them together while I'm working. Once you get there, once you get your two layers glued together, and a final sanding so that it drops really easily into the cut frame. Remember, you're going to be, by now, you're probably going to be inside your traced line, and it won't take long to take down that 3/16 to 1/4 inch extra that you left around there. In fact, you do need a little extra, like I was saying, because when you pull this felt over one of your layers of felt around the edge, that felt is pretty thick, and it's going to need a little extra real estate to fit inside there. And you're counting on that binding from the excess to hold the thing into place. I'll get on that. I'll address that a little while later. So the next thing you want to do after you've got your two felts or your two styrofoam sheets glued together, next thing you want to do then is get your glass top back laid out on your working surface, and get one of your felts and lay it in place and kind of tuck it into place and let the overlap hang over the edge. Then you want to get your double layer styrofoam core and fit it all the way into the glass top. And then what you're checking for now is just to make sure that it fits in there relatively well, and you might have to press it into place. You're counting on a little extra from the felt to hold it in place. And like I said, I'll get on keeping it in place later, either with Velcro in the corners. I'm not going to do it on mine because I'm counting on having to really press it into place to hold it. The whole thing doesn't weigh more than 2 or 3 ounces, and there's really no weight consideration that it's going to fall down even when you get on a bumpy road or you get into a little spirited driving, so they call it. So once you got your felt laid in and your 2 layers of styrofoam sheeting in place, you're just double checking to make sure it does fit. If it doesn't, then you might have to take down a little more styrofoam. Once you've got your styrofoam final edge shaped, then you want to start gluing felt. And on mine, I've got one felt facing out and one felt facing in. Oh, and the styrofoam sheeting is available at 2 different arts and crafts stores that you can probably find in every big town, either one or the other, or both of them in most big towns. It's available from Joann Fabrics and also from AC Moore Arts and Crafts, and it's $2 a sheet. You might want to get a couple extra sheets just in case you don't get it right the first time, like I did not. Okay, once you got yourself ready to start gluing the felt, get your first piece of felt. This one on mine is going to be facing out through the tinted top. Once you got it in place, then you're ready to glue the top facing felt. And what you want to do is get it in place, flip half of the headliner back, glue one half, and only glue it to about, probably, I went a little extra, and I should not have because of the way I'm going to do mine. Glue it only to about 3 inches, I'd say, of the edge of your styrofoam board. Once you get it, and when you flip it back onto the glue, I used a pretty good layer of the felt glue. Once you flip it back, do not press down too hard because the glue will come through the felt if you mash down too hard. You might see a spot right here where it did, and it's not a big deal. I can probably hit it with a magic marker. I don't see it right now. But anyway, once you've got one half of the felt glued in place, flip the other half back and do the other half again, leaving about 3 inches. You just want to keep it held in place until you're ready on the interior facing felt. So once that's dry, turn the whole assembly over and then get your other felt that is going to, or whatever you're using, ready for the interior surface. And this is the one that came through, where the glue came through the felt. And like I said, and I got a little buckle in there too. Not too big a deal. When you're spreading the felt onto the glue, just kind of work it and watch for any buckles. And if you have a buckle, just kind of raise it from the edge, and just kind of with a finger or 2 fingers, just kind of rub it in to kind of spread the buckle into the glue, or across the glue. Okay, now on the inside again, what you want to do on this one, get your logo centered. This is my interior facing headliner. Get it centered in place. Measure maybe from the center of the vet ring to the edges, and top to bottom preferences. That's up to you. I'm going to try to stencil some more logo right across here on the interior, maybe ZR1 or something. And then repeat the gluing procedure that you did on the exterior facing felt, except now you want to go all the way to the edge. And you can see where I've got it right to the edge there. Once that's dry, then flip it over again to the exterior facing logo. Flip back the 3 inches extra, and you can see I got a rough cut along here, and I'm not concerned about that for 2 reasons. One, because the tinted headliner is really going to make the black rough edge kind of hard to see. You'll barely be able to see your logo through that tinted top. It's not too busy, I don't think. It's not over the top as far as sticking stuff on your bed. So flip back your 3 inches that you left unglued. Pull the excess of the interior, and now's where you got to really make sure that your 2 edges are stuck together. Like I did on the top, I put extra tape on there, and that extra tape won't show through the felt. Pull the 3 inches back, and now you're only going to do a rough cut of the excess from the interior headliner. I'm probably going to cut to about 2 inches all the way around. Pull it in, cut 2 inches, pull it to the corners, cut 2 inches there. On the sides, same. And then when you get to the top, it's a little more tricky, cutting where the concave recesses are in the forward part of the top. And this is where I messed up on my painted top headliner. I didn't cut for your first cut, your rough cut. Just pull it in straight across. Cut 2 inches. And then when after you've done the rough cut of the excess, when you're cutting where the concave is, the concave recesses, what you want to do is cut down maybe 2 or 3 places into the curve, and you want to cut just almost to where it comes over the 2-layer styrofoam board. And if you don't cut enough, you're going to have a buckle on the front side, and that's what happened on my painted top. I'll get pictures of that on the forum discussion thread for you guys to see. Once you've got the 2.5 or 3 inches all the way around, then you can get your cuts in the concave recesses, and then you're ready to glue the overlap. Pull back the excess around the outside facing headliner, put it into place, glue it, and you got to really make sure it's taped into place good while it's drying. After that's dry, then you're ready to glue down the last 3 inches of the exterior facing headliner. And again, I'm not concerned about that rough edge because you are not going to be able to see it through the tinted glass top. Then glue that one down, tape it into place well, and I think that's just about it, guys. If you got any questions or any tips, this is the first one that I've actually done, the 2-layer, and like I said before, there's always a better way of doing stuff. If you can find larger foam somewhere that's real thick or that's real thin, post up on it, and I'll make sure to give you guys credit if anybody comes up with good stuff. If you take pictures of your stuff and post it on the boards, that would be pretty cool too, especially if you come up with something better than what I've got going on here so far. I think that's going to do it, guys. I'll get a few more details with pictures in the discussion thread on the boards, and again, I'll put the web address of that discussion thread. It's Corvette Forum /guru, not to be confused with Corvette Forums, the big guys. I'm not on those boards. I think that's going to do it again, guys. So if you have any problems, post up, or any tips, post up, and I'll address those on the boards. Thanks, guys, and good luck with it.